Hey everybody, it's Judy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy New Year and all that fun stuff. I hope that you're looking forward to this year with much hope and much joy. And I pray for all the blessings to flow upon you. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a houseplant update. In fact, I haven't even filmed a video for a while, so there are a few changes in some of the plants, especially now that it is like peak growing season. Summer is upon us. We've had some really hot days, which the plants absolutely love, and my humidifiers are going nuts, like going crazy, running all the time, trying to keep the humidity up in this space because we do have very dry summers. Anyway, plants are going bonkers at the moment, and I want to show you some updates on some of these things. So let's do it. Okay, first of all, I don't know if you remember the video where I repotted my huge fiddly fig. It was a struggle and a half. The tree was huge, and I almost put my back out lifting it into the pot. But anyway, later on in that video, I actually notched the stems, and this is your update for what has happened with those stems. Now, in theory, it should have worked. So as you can see here in this B-roll that I'm going to include here, the notching on the stems did not work. I think maybe what I did wrong was that I didn't cut down deep enough into the trunk, because I have done this before and it worked. So I'll show you guys a little bit on what I actually did it on and how that worked. It didn't work. That's okay. I thought I would try it out and see how I would go with it. Did feel at the time I should have cut a little bit deeper just to signal to the plant that I had actually proper trimmed it and cut it, even though I hadn't cut it all the way through, but I didn't cut it deep enough for it to actually tell the plant that it had been pruned. Anyway, that's okay. It's totally fine. The base of the stems, it's a tree after all, and you don't see very many trees with branches growing out from the lower trunk of the tree anyway, do you? In this instance, I wanted to try and get the tree to bushy up at the bottom as well. But that's okay, it didn't work, and that's totally fine. So it's looking really happy after its repot. As you can see, it's just going really well. I think it needed a little bit of time to readjust to the new pot. But yeah, she's really taken off now. Now at the top of the tree, I did pinch the new buds, or the new growing leaf. But well, I suppose they are buds, aren't they? So here in this B-roll, I'll show you, it actually worked really well. So when I pinched the tops of the ficus, this fiddly fig, I had 2 new stems grow from one of the stems, and some new shoots come from the other ones. And I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like. What this signaled to the tree was it had been cut, and trees just want to survive, or plants just want to survive, and plants just want to grow. If they've been cut, it'll tell the rest of the plant, oh, you've been cut. You need to keep pushing out new growth elsewhere, and that is exactly what my fiddly fig tree did. This pruning process, called pinching, I suppose, if you want to search up a little bit more about it on Google or YouTube, look up pinching on trees, or I suppose. This is a really good method to try and get your trees to grow a little bit more bushy, because what happens is you trim the top of one single stem, and more often than not, it'll start to shoot out 2 shoots from the one stem that you cut. So that's a really good way to make it go bushy at the top of the plant. And periodically, every so often, when your little offshoots become bigger, you can trim the top of those off again, and then it'll just continue to keep branching out from each new stem. So that's one way that you could get your fiddly figs to get a little bit more bushy. So after I did it to my first stem and it was a success, I went around to most of my ficus trees and pinched or trimmed off the top of all the new leaves that were coming through. Most of them had actually gone dormant over the winter anyway, and so I cut the tops off. And now after, I think it was like a month ago that I did that, after pinching all these tops off, every single top that I cut has started to give me a new offshoot from the spot where I had cut. Here you can see I cut it here not that long ago, and this was an offshoot, and all of this sprung out from that as well, which is so super exciting. It's just really super rewarding when you cut something back and it's like, I don't hate you, I'm gonna continue to grow. Okay, so here is an example of one that I cut, if it would focus for me. So I cut it here, and nothing has actually grown from this node, but after I cut it, this little offshoot happened here on the lower stem. So either way, the tree itself just wants to grow. And sometimes it just needs a trim back in order for it to signal to the rest of the plant that it's just gotta keep on growing. Okay, so this is a very, very close shot of this stem, but as you can see there, I cut it there, and there's a tiny little bud of something, little promise of something happening there. It's not huge though. I think I do need to water this plant because it's not really doing too much, but there's a tiny little nubbin of something happening there, one down there as well. So yeah, hopefully something will happen soon with this one. All right, I also filmed this as part of my video before, but when I went to download the files, this file was corrupt where I was talking about this Ficus audrey. So when I was talking about notching on the stems, what didn't work with the fiddle-leaf fig tree actually worked with this Ficus audrey. So one of the things about having a plant shop is sometimes, the reality of it, sometimes you get plants that don't sell because either they drop their leaves on the bottom stems for one reason or another. This Ficus audrey did not sell. So what I did was I cut the top off there and popped that in a vase to propagate, which actually now has some really nice roots on it, which I'll show you guys in a sec. But I ended up trying to notch this stem because I thought, well, I don't really have much to lose with this tree. It's already not looking too fantastic. Like the roots are well established and the stems are still alive, and it's just happened to drop the leaves on the bottom stem. So what I did with it was I notched it here just above the nodes or at the nodes, and I actually cut it deep enough because it activated each node. And now at each node it has that, it grew that, which is actually really super exciting because this was just a single stem before, and now because I cut the stem, it encouraged all of this brand new growth to come through. And that all kind of happened in like a month and a half's time. It has been sitting outside in a spot where it gets bright indirect sunlight, or actually sometimes direct sunlight, and it just absolutely loves it. I think it's acclimated to having some bright direct sunlight, but these ficuses are absolute light loving plants. So this is a example of some very successful notching. I don't know if I can call this an update since I didn't show you guys like the before or while I was doing it. But yeah, here we go. This is the top of that branch that I think it actually snapped off. I didn't actually cut it off, it just snapped off. And I've put it in this vase of water and it has started to grow some roots, which is really super exciting. Look at those roots. Once those grow out a bit longer, I'm going to plant it back into the original pot. So I have a 3-stemmed Ficus audrey tree. And then I might even put it back up for sale. But sometimes when you kind of like rehab a plant and it grows out beautifully for you, I get a bit attached to it and I don't really want to sell it again. Anyway, let's put those cuttings back in there. Yeah, maybe in time I'll have another beautiful Ficus audrey. All right, moving on to the next thing, and this is a Glorious, a Philodendron Glorious. This was also the cuttings that were given to me by my friends, and I've had it sitting in a glass of water since that video where I took it out of the sphagnum moss, and this is the roots that have grown. So they're doing really, really well. I really do need to change that water out. They've grown into each other. Those roots are kind of tangled, and I don't want to be too rough pulling them apart, but I kind of need to pull them apart. Maybe I should have put them in 2 separate glasses. Anyway, here we are. There we go. Oh, I didn't break any either. So decent roots on that, and a brand new growth point coming out on the side there. There is a brand new growth point coming out on this from this node here as well. So these Glorious cuttings are doing super amazing. I want to grow these up a moss pole as well, and I'll probably do all of that in a whole other video in a day where I am prepared to make a really big mess here in my dining room. Today I just wanted to sit and have a chat with you guys about these new houseplant growth updates that I've got happening here. So I'm really pleased with that. Look at this beautiful leaf. Apparently these Philodendron Glorious leaves get really, really long, but it's already quite big, like the size of my hand. Oh, I'm so lucky. All right, so I'm putting them back in the same glass because I never learn. Oh, here, I have a glass here. Water, I'll put them in 2 separate glasses. There we go. There we go. Thumbnail. What else? Cuttings. Brandytianum cuttings, Philodendron brandy. Let's see. Oh, she's got some nice roots happening there. Not huge ones, actually. I thought they would be a lot bigger than this by now, but anyway, it is what it is. Such a beautiful plant. This is also something that I want to grow up a moss pole, because the taller up these vines, these aroids, the higher up these vines climb, the bigger the leaves become. So I'm pretty keen to see how big I can get the leaves on this. But again, that's the thing, I just don't have space. If you guys look up Sydney Plant Guy on Instagram, he has an incredible collection of aroid plants, which he grows up moss poles. You should definitely check out his profile. He's got some stunning plants. And that's kind of what I want to do with these cuttings, but he's got like a whole setup for his plants, and I just don't have that kind of surface space in my house anywhere. Again, not unless I rejig my lounge room, and that's another whole job in itself that I literally do not have time for, because I work as a chef and I run my small business, and these plant jobs are just ones that kind of fall by the wayside, but I still really want to do, because again, my YouTube channel is part of my small business and it's actually going really well, so thank you guys for that. So anyway, Brandy, doing well. Got some nice roots. Really, really nice, healthy roots. I have the variegated heartleaf philodendron in the same glass, and it's got some really, it's got some roots. Kind of underwhelming, to be honest, but there is a new sprout happening there, and I thought there was a little leaf. Oh, and there's a new sprout happening there too. Now, my friends gave me these cuttings. They said they were variegated heartleaf. There is very, very little variegation left on them. And they said if it's variegated, if the new leaf comes out variegated, cool. If not, then you know what, you just have some heartleaf philodendron. Either way, it's a really beautiful plant. New leaf coming through there. So exciting. Love new leaves. If you guys have not picked up, new growth makes me really happy. So put them back in the water, and I'll pop them back into the humidity box later on. Here is the begonia ice caps, snow queen, one of the two. I forget which variety it is, but oh, here is that Monstera Peru, I think, or El Salvador. It's one of those places. It's grown a nice, decent root there. I probably should just plant this back into an original pot that I've got, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it. These begonia have started to root together. Oh, so I have another Peru cutting. I'll separate that one. Probably should put that in a pot all on its own. Anyway, here is the snow caps and ice queen. There's two different varieties here, but they've got some roots. They've started to grow together. There we go, separated them. Got some nice little roots. Again, this is something I need to plant into a pot of soil. I'm gonna do that in a separate video. All right, this video's probably getting quite boring now, isn't it? Moving on, one more thing. Oh, and then I'll update you on the Monstera that I repotted, my huge Monstera that I put on a moss pole. Update you guys on that in a sec. But this one is a Philodendron mamai that I actually bought as stock from my shop. And I ended up keeping 2 plants for myself and potted them together in here. Now, when I first got these, they were tiny. They were just small little plants. I'll show you what they looked like when I first got them. Okay, so this is a mamai that I pulled out of the shop because it had one single leaf left. All the smaller leaves kind of died off. So I've pulled it off and I'm gonna pot it in with this one when I get the chance. So this is how small it was. The biggest leaf on the plant was that small. Anyway, I took 2 out of the shop and planted them together in this one pot and put it in the humidity box with all these other cuttings. And look at this leaf. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, so pretty. I'm looking now for a silver cloud philodendron, but whenever I am looking for rarer or collectible plants, I look for them wholesale from my suppliers, and if I can find them, I can. If not, then I don't stress about buying them retail from Bunnings, because Bunnings has a really good range of rarer collectible plants at the moment from the Enliven range. And I did message the grower from Enliven and I asked him if I could stock his plants, and he said he's not really looking for new stockists at the moment, and I think he's focusing on supplying bigger people like Bunnings, not the smaller businesses like me, which is fair enough. You got to have a business plan, and that's fine. So I'm struggling to find things like platinum platinum alocasia, platinum dragon alocasia, things like that. The rarer calatheas, even Philodendron Glorious, I think that's how you pronounce it. But again, rare plants, I don't have a huge hankering for it, but when they come across my path like this one did, I love it so much. It's so beautiful, and I feel a little bit guilty not having it on my shop for sale, but at the same time, you know what? If I can't benefit from my shop, then what's even the point of running my business? And if I wasn't running my business buying these little plants, then I would be going out and buying them retail anyway, maybe. So here it is. I get to enjoy the fruits of my plant, of my shop, my plant shop. Anyway, so this Mamai has got a brand new growth point coming out from the stem here. Tiny little point. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the focus on this new camera that I just bought seems to be struggling a little bit. So anyway, it's got a tiny little growth point there. So that's my Mamai. This is one of my favorite plants recently. Just one of those plants that just bring me so much joy whenever I look at it. Okay, one more plant that I'm gonna update you guys on, and then I'm probably gonna call this video quits because who knows, it's probably really super long and really super boring right now. But I do wanna update you guys on the huge Monstera that I repotted a few videos ago and put it on a moss pole. Now, shortly after I repotted that plant, it took a bit of time to reestablish itself within its new pot. And then maybe like a couple weeks later, that little nubbin that had gone stagnant on one of the stems grew out into this big, beautiful brand new leaf. And since sprouting that leaf, it has also sprouted 2 more leaves. So it's just really exciting when you give a plant something that you know it needs and it responds accordingly. It's just so rewarding. So I'm gonna quickly show you guys the plant and where it is and how it has settled into its space. Okay, so here is the Monstera sitting here in its cluster of plants down the bottom. So when I repotted this, there was a little nubbin on, I think it was, I forget which leaf it was that was brand new. I think it might have been this one. It was a brand new leaf that wasn't there originally. I don't know if it's exactly that one, but it did give me a brand new leaf on this side. And then around here, this new one sprouted up. Look at it, it's so big, all those beautiful fenestration. And from this stem, there is a new little baby leaf bump happening there as well. So if you can see that, that's probably going to be a brand new leaf in a couple weeks. And then after that happened, bring you around here, this one happened. So as you can see, it's a bit of a paler green because it's still a younger leaf. It hasn't actually quite hardened off yet. So that's why it's looking a little bit young and floppy, like young foal that hasn't developed its legs yet. So that's a new one there too. So this Monstera is doing really well. It's reaching out towards the light. So as you can see, this leaf is extending out a fair bit. That leaf on the other side that you saw is extending out a fair bit as well because it's reaching for the light for that window and the window over here. I'm gonna have to maybe like tie these up to the pole and get it to go straight up, but at the moment I kind of like the sprawling way that it is growing. So yeah, Monstera is doing really well. I'm hoping that it gives me a few more leaves yet before the growing season is over. So yeah, here is my lounge room. What I'm thinking about is replacing this bookshelf and having a display where I can put all my aroids growing up moss poles. I don't know, we'll see. I kind of like the way my living room is at the moment, and it's just another thing that I need to do, but it's not very high on the priority list at the moment. All right, I know I said the Monstera was going to be the last plant, but one more, and this is the Alocasia green dragon scale that I put into my humidity box. If you guys remember watching that winter humidity box that I created, I had this little plant that I said that I purchased because it had several plants planted into the pot. It was multi-planted, more than one in the pot. And that was kind of the selling point for me. And I put it in the humidity box to kind of help it tick through the winter. And now I've taken it out of the box since and dismantled the whole entire box because now that it's summer, nothing really needs to be that hot anymore or kept warm. So this is the leaves This is the leaves. This one and this one are like my two favorite plants at the moment. I'm just really loving the way that everything is booming, everything is growing, and it's just taking off. So I have this in my bedroom on my stand, my display where I have all my calatheas. And yeah, it's just doing really, really well, and I'm just so pleased with the way it's going. I haven't had very much luck with Alocasia recently. I will show you a plant that isn't doing very well, just to show you the realities of plant parenting. Okay, here is one of a few Alocasias that have kind of declined in the last couple months, and I don't know what it is that I'm doing with them. They used to do really, really well with me, and now they've just gone all soggy and yucky like this. There aren't any pests on them. I feel like it might be an imbalance of watering, airflow, something's going on with these, but I just cannot really put my finger on what it is. This is another Alocasia silver scale that I had several stems growing out of it not that long ago, and they all just kind of like rotted off and went mushy and died. So maybe it was just staying too wet for too long, but I don't know. My soil mix is quite chunky. That's the reality of these plants, and I suppose that was a little update on these too. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. Maybe I'm just gonna throw them away, because sometimes it's not worth the headache. I have got literally hundreds of plants to take care of, so not only my collection but also the plants from my stock that I need to take care of and make sure that they're growing healthy and happy and watered, because otherwise I'm throwing money away if they just shrivel up and die. So having a couple plants in my own collection do this, shrivel up and die, not really super high on my priority list to try and revive, but I'm going to celebrate the wins and enjoy these beautiful plant babies that I've got. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that houseplant update. I know it wasn't much of an informational video. If anything, I just having a chat to you guys about my plants. They really make me very excited, and I'm just so happy that I've got this beautiful community of you guys to be able to share them with. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so glad to be back here on YouTube filming videos. If you guys didn't notice, I've got a brand new camera as well. Well, not brand new, it was secondhand, but it was almost brand, anyway, not that you guys care. I've got a little microphone connected, so if you guys see any difference at all with the video and the audio, let me know in the comments. I would like to know if it really made any difference. But anyway, here we are. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your video requests in the comments down below, what you guys would like to see next from me. I've got a lot of ideas of things to film, like notebooks, so I'm not short of ideas. I just really want to tap into what you guys are thinking, what you want to see from me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time here today. I'll catch you all in my next video. Bye. All that fun stuff. In today's video, I've forgotten how to film a video because I haven't done that for a while. In fact, I haven't even filmed a video for a while. In fact, I haven't even filmed a video for, as you can see, I haven't filmed a video for a while.